They made you doubt yourself. Now they are losing control. It did not begin in a way that was easy to notice. It started in small situations where something felt off, but you could not fully explain why. You would bring it up, hoping for clarity, but instead of getting a direct answer, the focus shifted to your reaction. It made you feel like you were the one overthinking, even when your concerns were valid and real. You tried to be patient. You gave the room to explain and time to be honest. You went over conversations in your mind, checking if you had misunderstood, if you had misunderstood something. You wanted things to make sense, so you kept trying. But every time you raised a concern, it was minimized or redirected in a way that left you questioning yourself instead of the situation. The pattern slowly created doubt. That pattern slowly created doubt. You began to second guess your thoughts and feelings. You hesitated before speaking because you were unsure how it would be received. You started focusing more on how you sounded instead of what you truly felt. That shift did not happen suddenly. It built over time through repeated experience. They relied on that doubt. As long as you questioned yourself, they did not have to take responsibility for their actions. Your uncertainty kept you engaged and trying to understand. It made it easier for them to continue the same behavior without being challenged. That dynamic worked in their favor for a while, but something in you stayed aware. Even when you doubted yourself, you could still see that the same pattern kept happening. You noticed how your concerns were always redirected. You noticed how clear answers were never given. That awareness began to grow quietly. Even if you did not act on it immediately, you started observing more than reacting. You paid attention to what they did instead of what they said. You saw how things did not match. You saw how situations were handled in a way that avoided direct accountability. That clarity changed how you responded. You became more still, not because you were unsure, but because you understood enough. You understood enough. You stopped explaining yourself in the same way. You stopped trying to prove what you already know. That shift created a different dynamic between you and them. They were used to your doubt. They were used to guiding the situation in a way that kept you uncertain. When you stopped engaging in that pattern, they could no longer rely on the same approach. The control they once had started to weaken. Now they can feel that change. You are no longer reacting the same way. You are asking the same question. That difference makes it harder for them to manage the situation, makes it harder for them to manage the situation like before. They made you doubt yourself so they could stay in control. Now that you trust what you see and what you feel, that control is slowly slipping away.